This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the award-winning Long Run live stream and podcast brought to you by the 40 Runs running community and our sponsors, Skechers. Pop along to skechers.co.uk and check out all their great deals. Hope you're all well. I'm Ian Wilkerson. Tonight, I'm joined by a star-studded crew. Chris Ford, Ben Slater, Alan Bowley. We're going to be chatting about all sorts of stuff. We're going to go over the marathons of the last couple of weeks, particularly London last week, which Ben and Chris completed. And then we're going to talk about those post-marathon blues, that post-race stuff. You've done your race and you're feeling a bit down. What's the best way to get out of that? And related to that, how are you going to plan over the summer, like a few weeks, like mini plans, things like that. Good ideas to keep you going for your next block in the autumn when it all goes again. Like I say, it's lovely to see you all. And Chris, how are you, mate? All good?
Yeah, evening, everyone. I'm just checking that we're on Facebook.
Yes, that's the point. While Chris is doing that, please, if you're on, he's going to put a link up, hopefully, fingers crossed, and we can put, so if you can join the link, then we can see who you are. So you're not just a Facebook user, we've got your name and everything.
I think we're good. I am very well, thank you very much. And I said it on Monday, and I'll say it again quickly here. Thanks to everybody who messaged me, liked me, the posts, commented from the race vlog that we did, and on Instagram and on Facebook and everywhere, really. All the love that we got, me personally, but everybody else as well, for 40 Runs. Just wanted to say a big thank you at the front end. And actually, bit related to Skechers, got to give them a shout out because someone messaged me and said that the Go Run Ride 11 is on the UK website, which is a bit of a thing. And it's a really, really good shoe. It's like one of those shoes that you can like wear to Tesco's, do 3 or 4 miles, then get back in the car and like walk the dog. It's one of those. It's so comfortable and it's a really good daily trainer. And that's actually on the UK website. Someone messaged me to tell me. So yeah, I've got to give a bit of love.
I had my Skechers. I had my Ride 10s, and I walked around London watching everybody on Sunday in a great shoe for even just getting out and about and watching your mates slog their way through 26.2 miles in the pouring rain in the capital.
Yeah, it was a bit wet. I would say that at one point. I mean, Ben knows more than me because he come really unstuck with it. Is that everyone put their hands up? The race stopped momentarily, and we was like, "Oh, sugar, what's happened here?" And then we realised that people didn't want to run through a puddle. And then Ben, is that the one you got wet at, Ben?
Yeah, it was. That was the one. We went up on the curb, and a guy cut in front between you and me got up on the curb and stopped dead. And so I ended up slipping off the curb into the middle of the puddle that we were trying to avoid and soaked through.
But this wasn't in the depths of the industrial estate of Mudshoe, was it? Where was this?
This was like Greenwich.
This was Cutty Sark. Yeah, this was around Cutty Sark.
The biggest hairpin that you're going to go around on the whole course.
Yeah,
and somebody didn't want to go to the puddle.
Yeah, I don't understand because my feet were already wet by the time I got round there, so it was just madness. But you know, us runners. I've got to give a thanks to everybody who's watching live.
Hello, everybody.
Get your comments in on the chat thing. We'll come on to those questions, whatever it be, about whether it's what to do next, ideas for what you should be doing, and how to get. If you've got any like contributions in terms of how to get over the blues, but also like what you should be doing next. Stick the stuff in there. Any questions for any of us, please feel free to use it. If you're listening to this as a podcast, welcome. Slow down, take it easy. Tell all your mates about us. So yeah, there you go. What's this? 40 Run Summer Barbecue. Yeah, come along to the I don't know who that is, by the way. Use the link.
Anybody.
We've got the Pink Picnic is going to be back at the Southend Half Marathon, which is on the 10th of June.
11th.
Yeah. So even if you're not running, come along to that. The guys at Southend put on a great show, and last year was a big success, I would say. Wasn't it, Al?
That was great. Was, yeah. there wasn't. When you got to the after party, if such a thing exists, there wasn't anyone else other than someone dressed in pink. I think we just kind of took over the floor. There was that little running club, I can't remember what it was, in yellow, had about 4 people next to us. They just gave up, didn't they, and went home. They can't compete with this mob.
Yeah,
So,
this mob.
We're all there, aren't we? Are we there? Ben, you doing Southend?
I am indeed. We are going sub 145 with.
Oh, here we go.
We're taking Big Ben down, aren't we?
Big
We're
Ben,
taking the big fella down.
Chelmsford Part 2, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to ruin him.
he's still aching from the last time.
He did, and Chris said that, not me. Ben's going to fuel for this one. He's told me so.
Battle of the Bens.
Yeah.
We'll get Benny's running there as well. See who wins.
We're going to take Big Ben. I'm just going to go behind him and just draft off of him the whole way, and then
Well, you could film it. You know, we could do it sort of like live action, couldn't we? You know, the Battle of the Bens.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. No, I can't wait. I think it's going to be, as always, a Southend weekend's always a great weekend. It's just a great community.
Yeah, I couldn't do it last year because I had a bit of a knock, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it'll be good fun. So if you're thinking about, again looking forward, which is what we want to do on this show tonight, if you're looking for a race and you're able to travel, willing to travel, you know, at the Southend, it's off in the sticks a little bit, but it's a really good race. It's a good vibe. It's small. It's all for charity, which is great fun. You run up and down the seafront. If it's a lovely day, it's a fantastic event. It's well organised, well supported, and then we get the pink barbecue after. Talking of that, the other one is we've got the pink barbecue and we've got the Great North Run. So if you can't get to the pink barbecue, then the Great North Run this year, we've got big plans for that. I've also already spoken briefly about Shakeout Run at the Great North Run, which we're trying to really build something on. So stand by for announcements, plans around that for the Great North Run. That will be on Saturday. We're trying to really put something cool together for you guys to if you can get to that as well. So that should be fun. So you got the pink picnic, and then we've got the Great North Run as well. So that's two really cool things that are coming.
All happening.
Yeah, it's all happening, and I think it's just it's just the club's gone bananas. Like I was talking to my mum, and she was saying that it's just mental at the moment, like mental. How many people are joining? So I think fueled by what people see and all the stuff that's going on within the club and the community, I think people are just getting on board. I think it does obviously help. Some people are just joining because they want to get involved in the club ballot for the 4 places. Well, unless they change the system, I've got no idea whether they will at the moment. They want to be a part of that because the ballot's open for the London Marathon at the moment, but in a way, you have got like probably a better chance in the club ballot if you're an affiliated runner. So let's see what happens there. So it's the club's just gone even more bananas than it is usually. And
we've got another couple of satellites starting up, haven't we?
Yeah, this is the thing. We've got the satellite groups all over the place as well. We've got Brighton, we've got East London, and we've got them starting. And it's just crazy. It's just, I've got to give a big shout out to Hayden. Obviously, he's not on today, but he's the driving force behind that. But these things don't happen without the amazing people who put these groups and clubs and social gatherings on. And it doesn't happen without that. So, it's amazing to see. And as I said to you, it's just incredible to see what's going on within the club and the community. It's inspiring stuff. It really is. It really, really
Well,
is.
if you want to boost your chances of getting in the London Marathon, the best thing you can do is to become an affiliated member of 40 Runs. Yeah. And then you'll have a sort of like a second ballot as well amongst all
and enter the normal ballot 100% because it's free. And as I say, join as an affiliated member. And then when all that information comes out that we don't know at the moment because England Athletics obviously don't know themselves at the moment. So when they do, then obviously then I don't get involved in the club other than the coaching side. So I don't know how all that stuff works. But then information will come out and, go into it. If you want to do it, have a go. Why not?
I did see that this year's ballot, they're going to, we should hear whether we're in or not by the end of June, which is not ideal, but a lot better than it has previously been with.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So
I'll be honest with you. I think that's good. I think that's really good that they're doing it in June. Like, as we know, I give London Marathon events a bit of our time. I think June's good. I think that's a good. I think that's a good chat. Plenty of time. I'm really busy at the moment doing people's training plans and stuff like that, and I can't take any more coaching clients on. You know, everybody's like sort of hunting out now, ready for, I think, planning through the summer and autumn. But people, I think coming out in June is a really good thing because you can get organised, but you can sort of do not pre-plans before the plans, but you can get some structure into your running. You can start thinking about what's this gonna look like? How's this gonna feel when I do go into that whatever plan it is? And again, it doesn't have to be a 16-week plan. You can start now if you want to put that much structure into it. But it's really cool to see that, you know, that they're coming out in June. And I've got to give them a shout out actually, because they did the London Marathon. I think it was so well organised. It was blinding. I mean, now you come onto you in a set with the volunteering stuff, but it was effortless this year. It was just a highlight of I think what this country does well. Do you know what I mean? There was a what's it load of money race for charity. The streets of London were lined like Cutty Sark, Ben, when it was about, what did I say to you? Was it 8 deep? I counted around Cutty Sark.
That was crazy. And then as we got round to Tower Bridge, the noise there.
And it's peeing down the rain, right? It's like one of the worst weather days you could imagine. It's cold and it's wet. And the place, Canary Wharf, was mental, right? I mean, mental. The ground was shaking. Obviously, you had the 40 Runs cheer station that you could hear from space. And the place, and again, it just shows you what we do well. And fair play to London Marathon events. The medal's great. The whole organisation of it is brilliant. And even the expo, right? Again, I'll go, man. But most of that, 99% of the expo is a complete waste of time, right? If you're doing it for your first time, 100% check it out. But basically, if you're like me, going to get your fifth bid or whatever it was, you know, you could literally walk in, go, thanks very much, turn around and come straight back out again. I mean, there is the point that ideally they send it out to us, yeah, because I just think, you know, carbon footprint, all that sort of stuff. But if they want us to go there, they did make it really easy this year. You could literally go in, spin around and come straight back out again. You didn't have to do all the other stuff.
It made a big difference not being able to go to any of those points.
Yeah.
You didn't have to go and find your number or your name or your letter. It was just all there. Go and find the empty one and bang, no queues.
Yeah, it was. And the people there, again, so well organised, so friendly, so welcoming. People are nervous. People are anxious at these events. Maybe it's their first marathon or whatever, right? It's incredible, you know, it's like with the volunteers, like people like Al and that, you know, and the rest of the guys who did it, to tone some of that anxiety down. It was really cool. We've got to tell the story. It'll come out on the video on Sunday, the Runners Weekend video's out. It's a little bit more like detail behind the scenes kind of stuff. And we was having a chat, weren't we? Over the elites, right, are warming up through this road. And they're doing all their kicks and their A skips, B skips, C skips, and all this sort of stuff. And then we're shouting across at each other. Ben spotted them because we've been in for a queue for a week. And then all of a sudden, all the FORDY'S from all the different fans, there's meltdown. They go, "Oi, lads!" And then there's Claire Pitt, and we're just having this full blown convo. And I don't think any other running club would ever have that, right? Where we're in the start and we're talking over the elites. We had no interest in the elites, like zero, right? The winner of the ladies' race, up and down. We're having a good old chat about God knows what. I mean, I'll see you later. And then we did the race. It's mad, isn't it, Al?
So apologies if you was in a queue trying to hand over your bag and there was no one on the trucks.
You ain't invited back.
We were behind the back, literally having a proverbial kind of cigarette. No,
brilliant. It was so good.
Quite as bad as that.
It was so good. And I tell you what, I don't know about you, Ben, but it almost calmed me down a bit, didn't it? Because you sort of, didn't you?
Yeah, it really did. It was so helpful because I think we went into the toilet queue. I texted the Hertford lot and we're like, "Oh, we're in the queue," and then next minute we just got screams from everywhere for people to kind of get our attention, and it just took your mind off it. Because I think for me, the tube journey into London, I was sat there really in my own head. I had to put music on and stuff, and then as soon as you saw people that you knew, it instantly calms you down. And then again, we were probably talking race and stuff like that. So seeing other people just to talk about random things was so helpful, and just to kind of stop thinking about it really made an impact.
Yeah, it was huge. And I've got to give a shout out. I don't know the name of the guy. Do you remember the name of the girl? Ben, the story. So we was in the queue for having a wee, and this geezer turns up, and all of a sudden he goes, "Are you the geezer from the radio?" Oh, yes, didn't say geezer, but are you on radio? Are you the man from radio? And I went, "Nah, what? Nah, like that." And then he goes, "No, you are." And I went, "I'm not on radio. He went, I know your voice." I went, "I'm not. I'm telling you now, bruv. It's lovely, but I tell you now, I ain't on radio. Right? I've got a face for radio, but that's about it." He went, "No. You're on that podcast."
That was it.
and then it all twigged, didn't it? And then I had to do a message for what was his? I can't remember him. What was his?
For her name? You told her, didn't you? Tell her to shut up.
Yeah, he said, "Can you give her a voice message, but quite an abusive one?" I went, "I can't do that." And he's going, "No, she love it. She loves it when you give the boys a hard time." I went, "I can't do that." He went, "No, do it. She'll love it." So I did this thing in the queue. It was the most bizarre thing in the world, wasn't it?
But what was his parting comment to you? Can you remember?
No.
He went, "I can't believe I've met a celebrity." And me and Simon literally started looking all round us as if like,
where
did we miss the celebrity?
Yeah. Ben Parks was in the queue in front of us, right? So go and talk to Ben. Do you know what I mean? But it was just the way he went, "You're the geezer off the radio." Radio? What are you talking about? So obviously they hear the voices, but it's amazing that in different mediums, right? So some people watch a YouTube channel, some people, whatever, watch this live. And then other people just listen to the podcast. So they've never seen our beautiful faces. It's mad, isn't it? I'll tell you
Ben Parks is another one we can get in the Battle of the Bens, isn't it? We can,
I'll tell you a funny story. I'll tell you a funny. She's not here tonight, so I'll tell you this. Jatila was on course, right? And she was at about mile 22, 23. And she was sitting on the railings, like, not minding her own business because she had a megaphone, but she must have been having a quiet minute, right? I saw her. I went up to her and I shouted, right, something like, "Ain't you got something better to be doing?" Or something like that. She went, "Oh, yeah," and then went absolutely mad when she realised as I ran off who it was. But I sort of spotted her sitting on the railings, just having a quiet moment to herself. Absolutely hammered her as I went past. It was brilliant.
I must have passed her a couple of minutes after you because she still looked slightly shell-shocked as I kind of came up.
Must have been.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, Oh, I've got to say, Mike, make sure you check out the video. I've actually included Simon's rating, right, which is an embarrassment, really. But I've actually included his rating a second time in this week's video because of the amount of comments we got on that video that's had like 20,000 views already. Yeah, there's more comments about Simon's rating than me running around the streets of London. So, Mike, where is it? Here we go. Make sure you watch the end of this week's video or watch last week's, the one that's already come out. It defies logic, the boys. He's the harshest man, right, in the world. I don't remember him ever giving a 10 for a race. Do you?
I mean, when he announced his rating, I was tempted to kind of fall over, but I didn't think I'd get back up again. So I just had to look shocked at that point.
It was.
So Ben, it was your first marathon. Could you just sort of like sum up how it went briefly, not go through the whole sort of 3 hours, 30 minutes, or however much it was?
I have to say, overall, amazing experience. I think doing London, it was just, I think, mind-blowing for me. Everyone's advice, and I think Al spoke about this, was just enjoy it. And actually, that was all I had in my mind, was I wanted to enjoy it. Ran with Chris and Si for probably 14 miles, I think. And then Chris kind of took off and I stayed with Si, and then got to a point I was like, I need to just push on a bit. And I have to say, the highlight for me, and I think I said it on Facebook, was absolutely coming around that corner and just hearing the FORDY cheer station. I've looked at the pictures and I was convinced that I was on that stretch of road by myself. I had no awareness that anyone else was around me. I mean, my arms were in the air, pretty much. Pictures,
ruining everybody's pictures. Did it all day.
And and I think I saw Hayden first, and then I saw you and Big Bet. And as I kind of went round the group on the way, it was just kind of seeing everyone, and it was that boost at the time of the race that I think you really need it to get you through. And Wilco, we had the chat on Tuesday night, and I was saying that I'd struggled probably mile 17, mile 16 to 20. And at mile 20, just in my head, just went, okay, it's 10K. That's it. Forget what's gone. Just that 10K. And that was, I think mentally I needed just that distance, and then was kind of counting down to the finish line. Saw Sabrina and Tobe on the kind of approach to the finish line and crossing that. Got my medal, and I was just like, right, where do I go to get my bag? And I hear, "Oi!" And I was like, and then
and you put yourself on the telly.
yeah. There's that famous bloke again.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was for me. Nothing will beat that. It was my first marathon, and I mean, obviously, I've entered the ballot for next year. I would love to do London every year. I think it's just a great environment.
Ben, I don't know about you, but when I genuinely had like welled up when I saw the cheer station. Right, it was probably the most emotional. I was more emotional at the cheer station coming up to it, seeing you guys, Kim with a camera out. Obviously, Hayden had to stand there in his Boston jacket. But as I'm coming, I genuinely, I was really emotional when I was coming up, because I don't think you realise I don't think people, on the cheer station, what it actually means to people to see that, especially me, knowing obviously you guys. You know what you've come together and done. It's incredible. But I was genuinely emotional when I came up. Obviously, I then showboated Natch, but I was more emotional there than I was when I finished. Like, well, when I finished, I was just like I was chatting to people basically. But I had to interrupt somebody's interview live on TV. But But yeah, I was genuinely emotional when I saw the cheer station. It's incredible. It really was. It was so loud. It was mental.
But nothing prepares you for that. Like, genuinely, I had the same thing as I'd kind of gone past, and it was that initial reaction, and then seeing everyone on the way round, because it was so deep and so like such a long kind of queue, and I just kind of seeing people. And just after I passed it. And that was when it hit me, and I genuinely I had to wipe away a couple of tears, because I was just like, wow, that's exactly what I needed. Yeah. But also, I wasn't prepared for that noise and that kind of cheer that you're just like, and then you almost feel sorry for everyone else in the race because they don't.
No, I didn't feel sorry for them for 1 second.
I felt quite emotional about it afterwards, really, because I mean I'd done Manchester the week before and sort of like gone up to support, and I used to have to try to get to Canary Wharf to go to work on marathon day, and it used to be an absolute nightmare for the travel and all this sort of thing. So I've always had a bit of a difficult relationship with the London Marathon. But just being there and just taking it all in the night, seeing everybody's posts afterwards about their emotional journey and how it went, and it was great to see Mo Farah and all that. But we're just ordinary people. We're just ordinary people doing an extraordinary thing.
Yeah.
All these people, it didn't matter whether you did it we had FORDY'S who were doing it in sub 3. We had FORDY'S who took nearly 8 hours to do it. It just didn't matter. And they all did it. They all had their own journey. And it is a life-changing experience. Yeah. Doing a marathon is a bloody hard thing to do. Yeah. And it is one of the greatest things and one of the greatest achievements that you will ever do. I think if you don't get to go to London, do another one. Yeah, go out and do one.
I think Wilco is just two things, and then we'll move on. But I think the other motion for me was coming up and seeing that, and then knowing that behind me was a lot of our guys coming through, and knowing that it's a funny thing to think of, but knowing that they would be getting that support. I knew that they were going to get that. So when I high-fived everybody as I ran off, I think whatever it was, I don't know what really happened. I can't remember it, but it was that was the thought afterwards, like, this is amazing, because when the rest of the team, right, come through here, they are going to get such a lift, right, from this. It really is. And the second thing, really, just to like sort of end, about London, was. It is a proud moment for me, because all this 40 runs madness started effectively at the London Marathon when I was there on my own. And then to come back, see the massive cheer stack. Well, firstly, right, see young James get the first medal on the weekend on Saturday. That I was buzzing about that. To see him, right, to see our volunteers at the mini mile, then to see our volunteers on race day, yeah. And then to see the cheer station, I saw obviously Speedy Michael in his 40 runs top chasing down the elites. That's brilliant. But then to see that whole thing go through, and then to see how like club runners, complete it. Obviously, Carolyn, getting a place through the volunteering. Just to sit back and just go, you know what, this is amazing. The club has put 4 people through this plus a volunteer. We've got the cheer station. We've got the volunteers. This is immense. Yeah. So, and the friendships and the relationships that have all been built around this. Yeah. Some people have left, but they're still friends, and it's amazing. And it's all been created through 40 runs and the community and the club. And I think you actually need to take a step back, because I certainly did after the race and think, you know what? That's crazy. That's mad, but it's beautiful at the same time. So, right, let's move on.
Now, hold on a second. Before we move on, I've got one more London Marathon question for you, Chris. You were talking as if that might be your last London, is it?
Yeah, well, it was a charity place, rolled over from 2020. I go into the ballot like anybody else, but I know realistically I've got 4% chance. So unless I get a sponsor invite, I won't say any more than that, but unless I get a sponsor invite for it, or I'm lucky enough in the ballot, because I've never put myself into the club ballot. I refuse to do that. It's one of the main things that I made clear when we set up the club, because I want to give everybody else who's part of the club a chance, which I think is the right thing to do. But yeah, so that I'm not going to take another charity place, because I don't think people will give me any more money. So realistically, that's probably my last London, unless I'm dead lucky in the ballot. So I hope next year I can come and be part of the cheer station. I'm going to hopefully be able to get there, or volunteer, whatever comes our way. I've obviously not made a decision about that, other than the fact of I would like to be involved somehow in the day. But again, listen, I don't know what's around the corner. I might get a place in June. I might get a sponsor invite. I might get whatever. Who knows, right? But in my head, I had that was my last London, which is why I wanted to have the best time with obviously Si and Ben, going and doing it with them, which was just so.
And then you ran off.
Yeah, and then I said, "Oh, sod this! They're going too slow." And I left them, as you'd expect.
I just wanted to clear that up, mate, before we left the subject of this year's London Marathon. Al, there's been quite a lot of
where do we start in the questions?
Messages and stuff.
You want to go to questions? There's a few comments that have come in about London. Matthew Bond, one of our listeners, was out there running it. He's given a big thanks to all the 40 cheer squad and everyone else that was on the course on the day supporting. Robert Ashworth, we've obviously inspired him to enter the ballot. He's never done a race. He's never done a park run. So you might as well just go big or go home.
Yeah, 100%.
Good luck to that, Robert. Couple of questions that kind of tie in to the experiences of running London. Paul McGee got blisters at mile 14. Always trained in the same socks and in the same trainers. Have we got any particular advice for him?
I think it's the weather. To be honest with you, it was the wet weather. I mean, the only thing is, I put on probably 8 tubs of Vaseline on my feet and around my toes, and around literally I bathed them in Vaseline, and then sort of tried to slide my sock on because I knew it was going to be extremely wet underfoot. That's my biggest tip for that.
I think that point's missed. You tend to get the Vaseline advice around chafing around certain parts, but actually your feet is probably as important, if not more, if you get it wrong. So that's hopefully, Paul, next year it won't be raining, but if it is, or if you're doing another marathon in the wet, you kind of know what to look for. Vince is taking a down week. He's done 2 sub-3 marathons in just under 3 weeks.
Legend.
He's having a complete rest before he picks up the slack, ready for Berlin. And Henry, didn't get your surname. I think he ran it, and he's going straight into training for a Dragon 50 miler in July. So I think we'll talk about that as well when we get onto post-race blues and.
And actually, Al, if you don't mind, I'll just pick up on that, because I've taken a down week this week. I've never taken a week off after a marathon, but after chatting with Coach Hayden, we decided this would be best for me. And I think it's worked, to be honest with you. Mentally, physically, I think it's worked. There's obviously a lot to process after a big race. Busy as well. But I think actually I've felt better for it. Also, I think because we've got this biking thing to do, that's slightly impacted that. But after taking this week off, I feel really motivated to get going again. Like really motivated. Like I'm already planning out next week's double running and all this, which is complete madness. I mean, you should just gently come back in, right? But I do feel like actually that week off after has really helped. Actually, it really has helped me.
I've had a similar experience because obviously, you know, I was in Manchester, so I'm a week ahead of you boys. Yeah, I did nothing from the Sunday. I went and did park run on Saturday morning. I've done nothing in between. And this week I've been out to a couple of times. I'm going to go out a couple of times over the weekend, and I'm feeling like I'm really back into it. We did have a message on the Insta from Lauren Ord regarding the Salt Lake Marathon. It's the sort of stuff, it's a bit kit related, which is the sort of stuff that Chris will often talk about on Bite Size, which is the Monday episode. So don't miss that. Make sure you join him live at 8 o'clock now.
Yeah, we pushed it out to 8. It seems to work.
8 o'clock on a Monday. And it'll also be on Spotify and all the others. She said, but this is quite a common sort of not too techie sort of question, I thought. It was her first ever marathon in London, and she did it in 3 hours, 29 minutes. Brilliant. Well done. In a pair of Brooks Ghosts. Do you think I should try a carbon shoe? And if so, do you have any recommendations? I should think there's quite a few people who would this would be of interest to.
Yeah, it's a good point because it was quite interesting. Being the geek that I am, when I'm running along, I'm looking at people's shoes and I'm looking at their pronation, and if I'm not looking with coaching eyes in terms of people's form and things like that, I'm looking at people's shoes, and there was like some really interesting stuff going on. There was people in like Reebok Energy float rides, and there was somebody, poor bloke, in a pair of Kinvaras, which he might as well just run on the concrete. So it is interesting to see. It was like our very own Jutilla doesn't run in a plated shoe. So I think with the price of those shoes that has come down significantly, I would say, because you can pick up some of the older models. I mean, there was a period of time where you could pick up a Vaporfly for 150 quid, which is a what's it load of money. Well, I appreciate that. But I think if you can, afford it, then think about trying it. But I would definitely look at the ones that are in the sale. You don't need to go out and buy an Endorphin Elite for 300 quid, for argument's sake. I would definitely give it a try. The technology's proven to work. Whether it makes an overall difference in terms of your speed, it's questionable. I think you've got to train well, train consistently, put the effort in, and then everything else will take care of itself. But the shoes, they do help. I mean, Ben and I went off from the line, didn't we? We're all going, this feels a bit lively. We was like at 6:30 per mile. And Si goes, yeah, that's because you're in the plated shoes. You're in your race shoes. And we're like, oh, yeah, good point. Because, you can't help it. You feel a bit, oh, this is nice. Off we go.
You've got the adrenaline as well, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, yes, I would definitely try it. But I would try and get something that works for you. Not all the shoes work. Some have got higher arches, some don't fit so good. Some, it's very difficult.
That's part of the problem, isn't it? It's quite a costly investment. So trying to find the right shoe that's going to work for you, you don't want to be blowing through 900 quid before you find the right shoe. So it's a tricky one in terms of each of the styles, each of the manufacturers kind of push a little bit something different these days, don't they?
I think the most sort of user-friendly, versatile, and easy to get on with as your first carbon shoes, probably the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3.
I've got the 2s. I've had 3.
Yeah, I would try the 3. They're coming down in price, and the new one's not out till next year, early next year. There'll be a load of new colorways and stuff at some point. So I would look to pick up some of the first colorways that dropped. It's probably one of the more forgiving carbon plated shoes that are out there, with the speed roll technology and everything about it. So if you're looking maybe to get into, get your first pair of carbon shoes, and I think if you shop about, you can tend to pick them up a little bit cheaper. All right. Right, so let's move on. But tune in on Bite Size on Monday. We'll talk about all this.
Bite Size Monday, 8 o'clock, YouTube and Facebook.
Right, what else you got, Al?
A few people supporting the view that a down week is particularly good. So Julie's done it, Dermot's done it. Who else has done it? Gal's done it. So quite a lot of support for having that physical rest. Shout out to Aaron. I know Aaron is going for 3 and 3 now. Aaron Paris Newton. He's been a long-term supporter of this podcast. He did Manchester. He then surprised me by doing London. And now he's told us he's going Milton Keynes. And I know, talking to him offline, he's had a few issues getting his fueling and hydration right. So third time lucky there. And hopefully you are learning between every race what didn't work. So eventually you'll hit on the magic formula of what will work. And just a lot of love for all the advice that the community and the podcast listeners have got out of us over the weeks and months that we've been doing this now, in terms of getting them ready for that big day.
That's a really good point, Al. My Instagram DMs, right? I mean, they're busy, but and it's usually Ben. No, they have been mental, right, since London. But with really, really, really nice stuff about the show and the advice and the tips, and from all of us, and people have listened to us over their training, over the, it doesn't necessarily London, but all the spring stuff that's happened, right? We've got some really nice feedback. And again, big shout out to everybody for dropping me a line and saying thanks. But it's thank you guys for for tuning in and stuff. But we generally have had some really nice stuff from people that we've kept company over there. They're playing long runs and stuff like that. And the tips and stuff that we've, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's tips. It's just stuff that, obviously some of us are coaches and whatnot, but it's just stuff that we picked up on. And that's the the best thing about this is just, it's we've all learned. Ben's now learned, from his experience, best thing to do is not run with Simon. Cowboy up and just go with the big boys. What did you say?
And get shoes that probably fit.
Yeah, shoes that fit.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Shout. That's a good shout as well, getting shoes that fit. Anyway, right, let's talk about, because I kind of alluded to, I think, sort of post blues, post things and what to do, if you're now in that position. I would give a quick plug because it's gone mad in terms of people who've downloaded it. There's a free training plan on the 40 Runs website. If you go, I think it's fordyruns.com/coaching. I probably should have checked that before we did tonight's show. But there's a plan on there, right? If you want something to do for 6 weeks, right? Because you've come out of training or whatever, there's a free plan on there at the moment, and it's not mental, the stuff that's on there, and you don't have to do it on the days that it says you have to do it. You can pick and choose some stuff. There's some session ideas on there and things like that. It's free. Just go and grab it, right? And I think moving into what we want to talk about, to have some form of structure or purpose to your running the next few weeks will actually help. So like I said, I've taken a week off, right? I'm now motivated to get back into running. The best thing that's going to help me with my running is getting some structure in. I've got a race booked, Hackney Half. We're doing Hackney Half, and then I've got that biking stupid thing, which I'm so angry about it. But I'm doing it just to prove Tobe that biking is not good, right? And it's not fun and it's not enjoyable. That's the only reason I'm doing it. But then, I've got racing, we've got Southend, we've got some other things that are coming. And I think to get sort of into that mentality of, oh, right, I'm back running, I've got this structure, I've got my frequencies, I've got an idea of where I'm going, but still have that enjoyment-ish of not being so regimented that you was with your if you miss a run, so what? You don't have to do 20 miles or go out for a 3-hour run this weekend. You can pick and choose what you're doing, but I do find myself having a little bit of structure, a little bit of focus, does sort of push down some of those blues that you get after doing a big race or a big event. I do think that helps.
Do you think that's something that you can sort of grow into? Because I'm finding like I'll be 2 weeks this weekend since I did my marathon, and now I've enjoyed the rest week. Now I've enjoyed doing a bit of stuff. Oh yeah, well I'll go out with you on a Tuesday. I'll go out for a sort of like a run with my cousin on a Thursday that I've not done for a couple of months. Just go and have a potter about with him, and then I'll just go up to such and such and come back again. Not worry. It's nice not to have. I've got to do 6 miles today. I've got to do 12 miles tomorrow, and that. So is it something that you can sort of like push into, so that when you get to sort of like week 4 or 5, a little bit further down the line, you think, right, I've got that structure back now. I've got my days when I'm going running. I know where I'm going to go and roughly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, but transition into it basically.
Yeah.
You want to free your mind up of the sort of, or take those shackles off of being in a plan, but then without sort of let's say doing it subtly, putting yourself back into one without realizing. So sort of pick up your frequencies, find those patterns again, and get that. We talk about rhythm all the time. Get that rhythm in your training. So when you do decide what your next goal is, whatever that is, whether it's to bring your 5K time down, and we're going to do a show about bringing your 5K time down, by the way, or whether it's, going for your, half marathon or whatever your next goal is, when it comes to it, you're in a much better place mentally and physically to be able to take that on. I think that's a good chat. Hang on, Wilco, just one sec. I've just seen a question. I'm going to answer it, and then we're going to carry on.
Yeah, okay.
From Rod, because if I forget it, any opinion on dry needling for injury recovery? Yes, it's brilliant. I've had it several times. It's brilliant. Go to Monica if you're in Hertfordshire, MFB osteo. She's like a wizard or witch actually with that stuff. She's
in the nicest possible way, Mum.
Yeah. Now, honestly, dry needling for me has really, really worked. So definitely check it out. Right. Sorry, carry on, Wilco.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring Al in on the importance of sort of like mini targets and setting, even if it's, you might be that you're going to do another marathon in the next 6 months, but sort of like looking forward to perhaps another event in sort of like 6 to 8 weeks. Would you suggest that that's a good way forward?
It's a very highly personalised decision. I think we've spoken a little bit about the physical stuff, needing to take some time out to rest, and that's very much about listening to your body. I think from a mental point of view, which is kind of where I've had the mental post-race blues, it's about taking time out to reflect on your marathon experience. Not everyone ran a great race. Not everyone did what they set out to achieve. So, and I've had that experience of coming off some big races and being blooming disappointed. So it's about taking some time and not rushing into anything, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to fall out of love with running, I assume. You want to carry on doing it, and you want to be motivated, however that is, whether it's through chasing 6 stars, a PB, or just getting out and visiting places. So it's taking that time to kind of evaluate what you got out of this period of training, what you got out of the experience on the day. Listening to you guys talk about Canary Wharf, I think that's now becoming one of the iconic spots on the race. Cutty Sark and Tower Bridge do it for the pictures, but actually for a runner now in Canary Wharf, it's just a total different experience when you hit 18. And if you can reflect on that and go, I want more of that, then you're set up well. I think coming down to the practicalities, there is a reason why the elites don't run many marathons in a year. And I know we all know people in the community that smash out a marathon every single week, or are doing, one a month or something. And that takes some real mental and physical strength to do it. But I think in terms of what Chris is saying in terms of easing in, for me, it's about finding time to do something different and just challenge yourself. So I don't want to get sucked into that plan too quickly, because it is all encompassing, and it means you miss out doing other things. This time I haven't run a marathon, but I've made sure I've turned up at Parkrun every Saturday, and I've got some great memories for the first half of this year just from doing that.
Doing something different.
I think, if you've neglected your 5K and you want to just test yourself on that speed, you can have a 6 or 8 week program where you just, fine tune perhaps your form, or you fine tune your fitness, or you cross train and do some strength training to complement. And hopefully that just takes the pressure away from the big goal. And then when you are ready to go into a serious block of training, you've kind of had that decompression, you've done the evaluation, and you kind of know what you want to get out of, the second half of the year.
What are you doing next, Ben? What's your thoughts coming out?
So I think I made the mistake this week. I came on Tuesday to the Hartford group and ran, and actually it was nice to get the flush through the legs, but actually I struggled after that. That took my legs, and
told you
to kind of just tell me.
Told you.
Idiot.
But having had, I think my next race is Hackney. And I've had that booked in, and it's kind of one that I've done for the last couple of years. I really enjoy doing Hackney, so that's one that I always do. So I knew I had that to look forward to, and I think pre-marathon I'd had a few plans in terms of, right, this is my goals over the summer. But actually, one of the important things, and I think Wilco, you mentioned this either on our Hartford chat or on Facebook, about, you know, I live by myself, and actually I've gone into the office twice this week. The guys hate me because literally by the end of yesterday, it was like, "Oh, did you run a marathon? You haven't actually mentioned it like in the last 5 minutes." I was like, "I'm not wearing my medal today, so you'll." And then pulled it out of my pocket because I did still have it. But actually, just having that interaction with other people just to distract my mind and talking to different people about it. Hopefully, there should be like loads of people at my work who are signing up for 40 runs because they're all. It's really nice to get again that feedback of, oh, seeing that. And an email went out at work yesterday with the picture of me at the finish line, which was really nice.
Did you have your arms in front of anybody else's faces?
They were actually out long ways this time.
I think this is a new phenomenon, by the way. If you've got a picture and somebody's got their arms, it's called you've been bent.
Amazing.
Because like all my pictures, I've been bent, right?
Not all of them. There's one.
I know there is one where I haven't been bent, and that's when I left him. The only reason I left him
because you got fed up.
I was fed up. I'm not getting any pictures because basically all he did was his arms were here, his arms were every single picture. So it's a new national phenomenon. If you've got any pictures and some of his arms, you've been bent.
It's not good for Instagram, though, is it, Ben? Because it's too wide, isn't it? You know, you need the portrait.
You need
slightly. This is the thing. So let's see what happens in Southend, right? We'll see if we can continue the phenomenon.
Well, you've got to top because they're using the Southend are using me and Si when we was doing airplanes. For the promo when we was doing our wings, where Si was doing the sound effects, which he didn't really need to do, but they are using the picture of us for airplanes. And if you look close, you can see Simon's lips that he's going. Like,
the challenge is in Southend is we're running with Big Ben, right? I'm going to have to be on tiptoes.
Oh yeah, how are we going to get around that?
To be able to block him out.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem. We might, we'll have to go round him, jump in front of the photographer, and run back out again.
So to get back on topic, Chris, what would you advise people who are not feeling it? Because we've said, oh yeah, I've got rest and I'm back out, and we're all, we've all been very positive. The three of us who've run a marathon in the last fortnight, we've all been very positive about what we want to do next, and we've got plans for that. What if you're really feeling down in the dumps and you're laying on the sofa eating chocolate digestives, watching the snooker? What if you don't want to do anything? What's the best way to get going?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think firstly, don't beat yourself up about feeling like that. If you are feeling down, talk to somebody about it. To be honest with you, that's the first thing I would do. Make sure you pick up the phone to somebody if you can. But I would personally, I would get myself out. I would lace up. I wouldn't necessarily take my watch with me, and I would just go out and run, and go and pick your favourite route. Pick a route that you know, like back of your hand. I would look to do that. I would look to probably. It sounds funny, but like we've got with the 40 Runs Running Club. We've got the social groups. We've got the groups. All up and down the country. But if there's not one near you, and you don't necessarily like going to a group run, then why not join in on a Wednesday when the guys do the virtual run, 7 o'clock, bit of purpose. Yeah. Oh, 7 o'clock, I've got to go out for a run. But just, if you can't do that, but you do have something on your doorstep, like a regular meet, something like that would do. And of course, and Al's going to obviously shout this, the Power Park run comes into play straight away. It's there 9 o'clock. But if you don't necessarily fancy running, why not volunteer? So you get that social aspect. And as soon as you start getting that, especially if you're volunteering at Park Run, then you'll get that sort of, oh, actually, I could probably fancy running this. And it's slowly but surely. So I think there's a couple of big takeaways there. Firstly, go out and run, but run to feel without your watch. Al calls it naked, but whatever. Just go and run your favourite route and just do whatever feels good. Maybe meet up, with a local group, whether it be a 40 Runs Club or something else. We've got the virtual club on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Give you a bit of purpose. but also find your local park run. And if you don't fancy running, then volunteer. I think there are 4 things there that can really help you sort of get back
as
into
well.
running.
Also, I mean, it's not been a great week weather-wise here, but you know, the weather is beginning to pick up. You're getting the light evenings. You know, that should help as well.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, you get that, what's it called, sad, isn't it, when it's all like, and it just seems to have rained forever, right? So I don't know what's going on there. So hopefully, you start getting some dry days and things like that. That's really going to help. But honestly, I think for anybody who is, feeling like that, just take one of those 4 things I just gave, and whichever one it is. But I think honestly, in a serious point, if you're feeling that low, make sure you talk to somebody. That's the key. I would say. We got any more questions or anything?
We've had some more people comment about how to recover. I think I know this is from, I think it's Mel complaining that her post-London recovery, you had her running up a mountain.
It's good for her.
I'm not sure if that's still on the recommendation.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a few people supporting the view that dry needling, even if you're needle phobic, is still a good idea. So go and have a look at that, find out a little bit more about that. Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but big shout out. I don't know how you did it, but you broke your arm on Tuesday, so you're on 26 miles on Sunday. You kind of recover on Monday, and then you're in A&E getting strapped up. And the question is, anyone had any experience of that in terms of when are they likely to run? I think the answer is take doctor's advice.
Yeah,
make sure you recover and don't do any long-term damage. So yeah, they're the comments so far, I think, coming in from people.
It is amazing, isn't it? It's you do see so many people feel like this. It is a real thing, It's not, you don't make it up. But honestly, just get out there and like as we say, the power of park run. Don't underestimate. I know it's difficult if you're not in the UK, right? But it's definitely worth. I've just seen a question come in, right? These things, race magnets. Worth the money? No, stick with pins. Absolute waste of money. Absolute waste. Oh, Ben looks like he's going to say something important.
So I don't use the magnets, but I use the clips. So
the event clips. You can get 40 runs.
But I find them great. I've started using them. Just make sure if you're going to a race, you take a hole punch with you.
Yeah, make sure Petra's got her hole punch if you're going.
I just think the whole thing's a massive waste of time. You can just use safety pins.
Oh, but they leave a hole in your top.
Yeah, but it's those things. Yeah, you got to line up, take off. It's a lot of aggravation. Just get this thing and then stick it in. You end up sticking it in yourself anyway with the needling, don't it? So no, but those magnets, absolute pony. Don't bother. Useless. Yeah, waste of time. There you go. I had real consumer advice there.
I was going to bring the conversation back to the marshalling because I think the point I wanted to add, it's about finding something that's fun. And if you're not into senior park running, one of the best half hours you can have is to go and support a junior park run on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because the kids absolutely love it. There's a few that might be dragged there by the parents. You can normally spot them. But really, there is no one not having fun on those Sunday morning runs. And it really cannot but help make you smile.
Yeah, you know what, Al? You're bang on, right? And that's such a good point because on Tuesday, we did the kids in Hertford. If you don't know, we do a junior running program here in Hertfordshire, right? And Tuesday was the sort of first day out of sort of the house after London. And we did the kids session. And it was so much fun, right? Because they just love it. 25 kids going berserk. And we've got some real little ones and we've got some older ones and we've got all the banter. And it just grounds you. It's so much fun. So, yeah, that's a really good tip. Go down and volunteer at your local junior park run because that will just bring – you can't help but smile at them as they sort of run past. It's so good.
If you're feeling blue and you go to park run and you see everyone whizzing past at 18-minute miles, it might not do your confidence the world of good. But at junior park run, you cannot but just have fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's so good. It is so good when you see those kids like flying around 2K and they're like, and some of them are so small and you're like, how the hell are they running? And they run some proper quick times. We got like one of our runners, he's like 18-minute, I think that was less than that, 5K Josh is. And he's just so fast. And he's just an absolute machine. And then we got We've got some of the really tiny ones who just love it. They're so much fun. Honestly, it just brings a massive smile to your face. It's like the best day of the week when we do the kids programs. It really
I mean,
is.
that sort of like lends itself to, if you're fed up with running, just do what you enjoy. Do that for a couple of weeks. Spend time with your kids or get out and just go for a swim or,
Don't do biking. Don't do biking, Wilco. Don't recommend biking to anybody. I've got 40 miles to bike tomorrow, right?
Ooh.
I've got a list of stuff that I've got to get out. I don't know what I'm doing. You asked Tobe. I rang Tobe today. I said, Tobe, what have I got to wear for this thing? I've got absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So I come around and make sure my tyres are pumped up because I know whether they got.
Oh, so you don't know what you're wearing tomorrow
for the biking thing.
Oh,
so this is what I'm saying to you. This whole biking thing is a massive waste of time and money, and it should be better spent. And I can't tell you how irritated I am by the whole thing. So if you're doing bike 100, I would really recommend staying well away from me because all I'm going to do is moan loudly for 5 hours.
Are you not tempted are you not tempted just to make the best of it? You got to do it. There's no point making it more miserable. You've just got to just do it with a smile on your face. Put a few tunes on.
Actually, you can't wear it. You can't wear earphones. You've got to be like.
What, you can't wear the old shocks?
No, I'll mind you, I could put my phone on my thing. I'm just gonna moan. I'm gonna ride next to Tony. I'm gonna moan. Just to make his day miserable, because mine's going to be miserable.
If it makes you feel better, I saw a post, they'll name nameless, but someone's now threatening to hand back their place on Ride London because they've only just realised it's a wooden medal. So there you go. That's a whole nother topic, isn't it?
Honestly,
done all that training, 100
you're going to put it in a shoebox. Don't worry about it.
I thought he was eating sausage rolls the whole way around.
I am. But this is a thing, right? This geezer told me this the other day. Apparently, when you get to halfway, you go into the halfway hut, right? And they stop the clock. And you're allowed in there as long as you want. This is what this geezer said to me. What sort of sport, right, lets you stop the clock at halfway? It's pathetic.
Well, football.
If you just stop, right? Yeah, but it's just, if you're doing a 100-mile bike run thing, or whatever it's called, why are they stopping it when you go into the halfway hut? That makes no sense to me. Because I could go in there and stay there for the rest of the day and just eat sausage sandwiches and go.
I was very tempted when I was doing Manchester the other week. We run past a great looking second-hand record shop, and I said to Mandy, who I was running with, we had a great time. I said, I could just spend 45 minutes in there, just having a look, see what they got, sort of thing, and then just carry on going.
It's awful. I honestly.
But how'd you carry your vinyls home, Wilco?
Yeah.
Oh, just worry, mate. Bit of fine. Just put me in.
Show your age, Wilco.
Right, Tracy was there to support. You just pass them to the crowd, right?
Yeah, that's right. I give him the Trace. Legend.
Hero. Absolute hero. Wilco, I just can tell you now, we've done 58 minutes. I've got no idea what we spoke about, by the way.
No, I mean, it's sort of like on a scale of 10, how much value have we had?
Probably 0.
Oh, I think you speak for yourself, mate. I think I've done quite well.
I'm just. I don't
People are saying, look, winning Inter's great to see Wilco back.
Yeah, there you go.
It's great to be back.
He's getting some love. There you go. There you go. Out of all the people who watched, one person. What?
Well, yeah, thanks, Mum.
Too right. Show him some love. Come on. Right, Wilco, you better take us home.
Shall I wind it up then?
Yeah, well, we've done 58 minutes. People have got to get to bed.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much for your company, everybody, and your attention and your questions. And big love to our sponsors, Skechers.co.uk. Can you pop along and check out their great deals? We are on Facebook and YouTube at 7:00 every Friday night. And also, Chris does his bite-sized edition at 8:00 on Mondays. So double helpings every week. What more could you ask for? We're too good to you. But if you can't make it live, don't worry, because you can download this episode, Monday's episode, and all the dozens and dozens of episodes that we've done before. We're on all your favourite podcast providers, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and all that. So just check out all that. Make sure that you're back again next week where we talk. Some of us will be here. Other members of the team will be here, and then we'll have loads to talk about again. If you're out running this week, stay safe, have a good time, and we will see you next week.